Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, it's Littlefinger. Today, doing a full tank review on the VK36.01H. You can see it here in the garage. This is a Tier 6 German heavy tank, and it is quite boxy, but it's got some nice armor. You will get quite a few bounces off of it being a heavy tank. One of the things I do like about it is it does have reasonably good mobility. We'll get into that here in a second. But straight out of the box, when you first buy this, it does have a good gun, and then it's got two more good gun options, and let's go ahead and take a look at that. So when you purchase this gun, it will come with the 7.5 L70. You can see here we've got the rammer installed, so the average pen on this is 150, which is really good for the tier, and kind of my basis point for these heavy tanks. I'd want to be at 150 or higher, so straight out of the box you can play this tank efficiently and not have to worry about being underpowered as the bottom tier in an unequipped tank, so to speak. But if you're just going to work your way up to the Tiger 2, then your option here in line is the 8.8 L56, and you can see our penetration actually drops to 145. I did run several games, and I'll see if I can pull up one here that I've played in it. Did have a little bit of issues with the penetration there at 145, but you can see that our damage goes from 220, well, from 160 here with the L70 to 220 with the 8.8. Now, my favorite gun was the 7.5 725. That pen number standard is 157 without any equipment. You're only doing 160 rounds damage per shot, but you've got 11.4 rounds per minute, and the damage per minute is just about the exact same between these two guns. And this gun here suits my playstyle a little bit better than the slower loading, higher damage gun. But the choice is yours there. Both very viable guns. So here's just a quick screenshot from blitzstars.com on the VK and the three guns. You can see here damage per minute 1641 with the standard 7.5 gun with 150 pen and a 160 alpha per shot, whereas the 8.8 only has 145 pen, but does 220 alpha, so it's going to give you 1720 damage per minute. Now the gun I liked is the 7.5 725. It is 722 damage per minute with your standard pen of 157 and your damage of 160. And you can see they all have the same aim time. The dispersion is the best on the 7.5 725, and you can see we've got 8 degrees of negative gun depression, and it's also a little bit lighter than the other tank, not much to make a notice. So anyway, let's return to the tank. So back to the garage, and I've now got the 7.5 mounted. Just want to run through the setup here. So in case you haven't watched one of my videos, this is standard for me. Repair kits, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, protective kit, improved fuel, chocolate. And then with this tank, there is no third option for HE. So I'm running AP 40 rounds and 20 rounds of APCR. And make sure, guys, you remember you can purchase your premium ammunition with the credit button to the right. Looking at the equipment, I am running the gun rammer on this 7.5 gun. I did try it both ways with the 8.5 and ended up liking the calibrated shells a little bit better with that setup, if that's the way you go. I'm not running improved modules. I have chosen to go with defense system and then improved optics over the camo net. Tier 6, I don't recommend this tank necessarily for tournaments, so I would save your spare parts. If you do decide to go that route, I typically would use the enhanced gun lane drive. I might consider that supercharge for the 8.8 millimeter gun. Moving on, I would go with the enhanced armor over improved assembly. You definitely want to get that 4% as a better option than just 70 additional hit points. And as you can see here, our traverse speed at 40 degrees per second is it's acceptable. So I would go with the engine accelerator and get our traverse speed up to 38. But it's going to allow us to accelerate faster and get to our top speed a little bit quicker. Moving on, if you go even further, I would go with the vertical stabilizer over refined gun. And then the last two sections really are your choice depending on your preferences there. Alright guys, so here we are on blitzstars.com using Tank Compare. I've got the VK36.01H on the left, the ARL 44, which is French tank, M6 T150 with both the 85mm and the 107mm guns, and then the KV1S 122mm gun. Doesn't really compare in size there to the 7.5 that we're showing on the VK3601. But you'll notice we're right in line here with the rest of these other tanks at 1722, and that's obviously without any sort of equipment. ARL, which is by far and away the best Tier 6 heavy tank. I've seen tournament games with all 7 ARLs, so I think that says something about how good this tank is. The M6 is a wonderful, I love that tank. And then you get into the T150 and the KV1S, which have the Russian trollish guns. But you can see here our penetration is kind of on the low end. The T150 there is 119 on the 85mm, but both the ARL and the M6 have 90mm guns, and you can see their pen is 160 and 212 there. So a little bit lacking in our pen, but we're going to make up that difference in our weapon handling here, and I'll show you that in a second. We are doing 160 in damage, which is obviously well below these other tanks. As I mentioned before, this is 75mm gun. Our shell velocity is 1170. That's one of the reasons I do like this gun over the 85mm. But if you look down here in the weapon handling, the aim time 2.08, it is spectacular when you look at some of these other ones, which are 30% higher in some cases. Our dispersion's also the best, looking at 11 to 26% increase on these other tanks. And we do sacrifice a little bit with only 8 degrees of negative gun depression, but that is certainly workable in this tank. Another area that I do like about the tank is the speed, 51 kilometers per hour. So this is a heavy that'll let you get out in front, get you to a good spot, and then you can use somewhat of the armor and the gun handling to really knock some points into your game there. So if we look in credit coefficient as 111%, hit points 1100, which is actually the highest there of all those other tanks. And you look at our hull armor of 100, outside of the ARL, real close with the M6, we are much better than the KV1S and T150. So the frontal armor on this tank is really thick. It's flat, so you don't get any benefit from the slope of it. But if you angle it properly, you will get quite a few bounces in it. And this kind of surprised me a little bit with how much I enjoy this tank, that it is actually the lowest here in the win rate over the 90-day averages there, and well below average damage. So I'm not sure what's going on there, if we've got some inexperienced players in it that just aren't playing the tank to its full capacity, but I'll show you a few games and show you how I play it. First game here is top tier on Mirage. I typically start with bottom tiers, but wanted to use this game here as an illustration of the tank speed. So you can see here, I am not hesitating. I am pushing forward as fast as I can. You know, we're up to almost 30 kilometers per hour by the time we start climbing this hill, and I get spotted and I spot up all of these tanks, but by the time I do that, I am behind the cover of this rock. So I found a nice spot here that I can obviously use as hard cover. So right now we're just looking for some potential targets. And this Anko is pushed up extremely hard, and he's going to get a shot in here and damage our ammo rack. And I'll eventually here get around to repairing it, but I'm trying to keep a nice steep angle here, and you can see he bounces that first shot off of the angled front of this tank. The SG-100Y there is turned towards me, and I'm just peeking over the top of this rock and taking my shot, backing up, reloading, pulling forwards, and you can see here he bounced. So we've now bounced 2 shots already, and one was obviously from a tier 6 TD. I kind of make a little bit of a mistake here. I should have probably just pulled forward, pulled back, see if I couldn't bait a shot into him, but he does manage to hit me for 450 hit points there. But at this point in time, our team has handled this side of the map against all of their heavies, and so it's just really at this point in time just mop up. Missed the kill shot there, and just gonna fast forward it here. So there's one guy left, this M7. See, I get that shot in full move, still very accurate. He bounces, and we can ram him for 130, and we just miss out on the kill shot there as well. So probably could have had 3 kills in that game, but 2646 in damage, and good for a level 1 mastery badge. See, we took 16 shots, all of them penetrated, and that's kind of my thing with this gun over the 8.8. Was that I didn't have any issues pen on this gun. So second game here is on Black Goldville, and as you can see from my gun, I've got the 8.8 loaded on this one, 7.8 seconds on reload time there. But we are going to do about 220 average damage instead of the 160 for every shot that we make. So we're just pushing down through the middle here, hoping to get some light tanks. Took a blind shot and missed on that Hellcat, and here comes the Leo, and certainly a tank you might want to switch over to HE on, as is the Hellcat, which I have done a full tank review on it, and you will remember that it does not have hardly any armor. You want to be shooting HE at it, especially if you are in a heavy tank or TD. So I am spotted here and kind of make a dumb mistake a little bit here. I'm hoping that one of these tanks comes around when I get shot from my left side, and probably was that Hellcat that pushed around. So I'm going to back up and just wait a few seconds here and drop off the radar, and seeing that their entire team is around the cap circle, and I suspect a couple of them are in close towards the buildings there, I'm going to push around through their spawn. There's a nice little, I guess I'd call it a little hold down spot here right behind this Hellcat, and remember what I said about the Hellcat, so I'm going to switch over to HE, and you can see here we take out his gun. He's got to fix it, and that allows us to back down the hill before he can shoot us, and he's trying to make a run for it, but we'll finish him off for our first kill of the game. Now there's KV2, then there's another VK36.01H, my counterpart on their team, and so you can see here I missed the opportunity to get a shot in there because of this long reload time, but You can see I'm only exposing a very small amount of the tank. You know, one thing to consider is try keeping your gun over the front right or front left part of the tank. And KV-1's coming at us, so we're going to turn our armor towards him, and he's going to bounce a shot. So if had I stayed where I was, he would have penetrated me and we would have lost some hit points. But we finish him off for kill number 2, and because I'm angled there, you can see that VK, he bounces again. So we'll take our shot on the KV. He is just shot, so I've got a lot of hit points here. I'm thinking I'll go ahead and take him out, but actually I was going for damage in this and was hoping that I could take out the VK, but end up we finish him off there with the last 35 hit points for kill number 3. So you can see I used our mobility, 1958 in damage with the 8.8 gun. 10 shots there instead of 16 in the last game. So bottom tier, Copperfield, and we are back to the 75mm gun. And from a heavy tank perspective and most tank perspective, there's a great spot just up and to the right here. I typically go a little bit over the ridge line there, so I'm not fully exposed to any tank that might be rushing down that line where that ARL is. But anyway, we're kind of just biding our time at this point and waiting for them to push or make a mistake. KV2's looking away so we can get our shot in, and he's still looking away, so he hasn't even turned to us at this point in time. So third shot in a row without him really even moving. Now he's looking, so we're going to try to bait a shot out of him, which we get right there, and we snap a shot off and make that as well. So things are going well for us. There's another nice snapshot into the SU. We've got this ARL. That would have been nice to have that kill, but we missed it. And that's what you guys need to do. Make sure you're looking around on the mini-map, or not laser focused in. Don't get tunnel vision on any one tank. So you can see we've got them to bait a few shots into that berm in front of me, and also had at least a 1 shot or 2 shots there bounce because of our ability to angle. Finished off the KV2 there for our first kill. SU 100 is pushing forward here, trying to just bait a shot, and he misses that. I miss mine. I shoot mine into the hill there, but he's got a long reload backing down, so we know we can get in at least another shot. There's another bounce from the SU 100. So not sure where our guy was going there, but he is caught way out in the open. And it's a close game at this point in time. Trying to keep that guy pinned where he's at. You know, if he gets turned to front me, it's trouble. SU 100 sets us on fire and just bum rushes us, and we get the first shot to go in. Luckily he bounces that last one, and we can just back up and get him with our fast reload. Had we had a slower reload, we might have not done that. Finish off the M6 there. One more to finish. We can take the hit point, no worries, and we'll get him for our kill number 4. And so yes, we ended up with 2636 damage, 4 kills, a mastery badge. That's just a great spot to be in, and that is bottom tier, landing 19 shots. No issues with penetration, and that's primarily because this gun aims so well. Alright guys, so this time bottom tier, but with the 88mm gun. I'm not a big fan of going left on this map, especially being spawned on this southwest side, because you just get lit up, and before you can get to the corner you're pretty much demolished. So what I've been doing lately is trying to push through the valley there and get some spots, and depending upon what they do, either advance or kind of just use this as a defensive position down here. But you can see that I've got some interested parties that are looking for me here because I've been spotted, and I'm just trying to keep this tank angled as much as possible. You can see that Kuro has missed a couple shots, bounced one, so he's finished off. KV2 is down there. I see that he has shot, so got about 30 seconds here. Get my shot in, and another 8 seconds to reload. Should be able to do this before he can reload, so we finish him off. Each team's down 2 tanks at this point in time, and I know that there's one other tank to the left of me, but I figured that he's focused down the other side, down towards our spawn. But you'll see he pops me from behind there, and so I'm going to try to get a shot in on him and back down the hill, but you see he bounced that shot, and I got shot from the other side. So I see that we've got 2 guys coming in behind the SU up there in the corner, so I figure that they're going to take him out, no problem. But I would have expected him to be taken out by now. Not sure what's going on, and I'm just trying to keep the front of my tank pointed towards what we now know is this T-21. So get a shot in there, and he is taken out. Unfortunately, we missed that shot there. Doesn't do any damage. So it's just him and one other tank left, and there's that ARL. Alright, it's going to speed it up as we drive towards the ARL so we don't get bored to death. That's one thing I don't like about heavies, being so slow, but we are now proximity spotted. Get a shot into the front drive wheel of the ARL. And I'm just showing him a little bit of angle. You can see here, he hits that front plate and it bounces. Gonna aim for that back track and break it. Get a little bit of credit there for that KV2 coming in and finishing him off. But as bottom tier, we do 1990 damage, good for level 1 mastery badge, top of the team there. So again, you know, I'm okay with this gun. I think they're both very good choices. Just the 7.5 suits my playstyle a little bit better. One last game, bottom tier. You can see here with the gun there that we're back to the 7.5, and we are bottom tier. We've got a call there to go left and a call to go down. My preference is to push left with these other guys. So that is what we're going to do, and you can see we've got 2 that are kind of headed towards town right now. One thing with the fast reloading gun is it does allow you to take just some blind shots because you know you're going to reload fairly quickly. The SU is spotted very early here. He must have pushed super hard. We'll get 1 shot to go in. So we've got him circled. He doesn't stand much of a chance. We just barely hit that rock there. And he is going to go behind the rock, so we'll lose our opportunity. We're spotted, so we need to get down low. And you can see I'm looking at the mini map now, and they've got 3 heavies in town with a 4th near the flag, and we've got 1 over here that leaves 1 unaccounted for. So we feel fairly safe to push around to this T-34-85. Not sure if he's AFK. No, he's turning there, so he was just not moving. So finished him off. PZ4S. Really wonderful tank. If you don't own one, it's got a great gun on it. Just missing a couple shots here. Very low probability of making those shots, and you can see it's 5-on-3 at this point in time. So things are not looking good, and would love to get that PZ4 out, but I'm not going to pull all the way forward, giving an exposed shot to that IS-2. We do have to pull forward a little bit there, and we both bounce shots. And obviously they are gunning for the VK that was behind me, and he is now out of the game. So it's 4-on-2, and we managed to track and then take out that VK there. So we're mounting a little bit of a comeback here, but they definitely have some serious health and some serious guns still in the game. And you can see here, take a big shot from the IS. But I'm going to drop adrenaline, and we're just going to push, want to get that IS out, and then focus on the Churchill. Take another big shot there from the IS, but we're able to take him out, and not much we can do to avoid the Churchill and his fast reloading gun. He finishes us off, and now it's 2 one-shots against each other. How's this gonna finish? And I'm really surprised this ARL doesn't even slow down, pulls right forward and takes a shot and gets his 3rd kill. But we were bottom tier, and we finished with 2162 damage, good for level 1, 3 kills. And I just find this to be a really solid heavy tank. It's got good mobility, it's got a great gun. Both guns are good because of their accuracy. Just depends a little bit on your play style, if you prefer to wait a little longer and get one bigger shot in, or get a couple smaller ones for every couple big shots you get in. So angled properly, this tank will bounce shots. I think I showed that just about every game we got bounces. So it's very trollish in that regard. But again, this is a super German gun. And of course, the benefit is this is a great line to get you up to the Tiger 1 and on up to the E100. So make sure you're playing this tank right, and I think it will treat you fairly. So as always, guys, have fun out there, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.